Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto Pushed Himself to His Limit. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and stay in tune because I'm going to be posting a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Smart Prodigy. So stay in tune for that and I hope you guys enjoy. And over on Anime King, I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was the Otsutsuki King. So stay tuned for that as well, guys. And I'm also going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto Was from the two greatest clans. So stay tuned for that as well, guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Naruto was heading to the Sand. Gaara was facing off against Deidara. As Naruto came up and found Sasori. As Naruto was about to stop Deidara, so Sasori told him that he won't make him pass. As Naruto challenged him to that. As the both of them went into a fury of battle, Sasori fired off needles at Naruto. As Naruto managed to destroy his puppet body though. As Sasori emerged, as he was currently the same age as he was before, he turned himself into a puppet, as he summoned the third Kazekage that he turned into a puppet, and the battle went on. Removing some seals off his body, Naruto's speed increased a lot, as the both of them started to clash furiously against each other. As Sasori was no match for Naruto, as Naruto's speed was something else, as Naruto flashed behind him and drive a sword right through his puppet heart, ending his life. He sealed away the body as Naruto vanished. Deidara was about to start his plan as he was about to drop his C4 on the village to make Gaara save it using his special sand, but it was then warped away. Deidara's eyes went wide when the explosion appeared right on his bird as he saw something flash just before it happened, like a kunai was thrown towards him. As the massive explosion went off, but Deidara sunshine away at the last moment as he managed to survive. Gaara was shot because he knew he wasn't the one that ended that man's life, as he didn't know what the hell was that. Sometime later, Gaara came to face with the masked stranger that helped him. As Naruto removed it, Gaara was surprised it was Naruto, his long-lost friend, the one that saved him from the darkness within himself. As the both of them had a talk, Tsunade received a letter from Gaara, as Gaara mentioned that a special friend of the both of them saved him, as Tsunade wanted to know who was a special friend. The masked man was intrigued to hear that a warping vortex sucked away Deidara's explosion after Deidara told him, as he wondered who could that be. Naruto went on another mission as he took care of a missing nin from Kiri. The missing nin was carrying on a boy named Ranmaru. As he had eyes like the Byakugan, he could see and predict things, but Naruto dealt with the man, as Ranmaru begged not to kill him, as Naruto did not, seeing that he was friends with Mizukage, as Mei would have gladly tried to change him to get one of the 7 ninja swordsmen back on their side, as he had the Kiba blades. As Naruto spent time with Mei after that, the both of them had a rather good time together. Some time passed after that, as it was soon time to go back to Konoha. As Naruto decided to spend a full day with the rest of the girls, he spent a full day with Konan. After the day quickly came to an end, Naruto and Jiraiya were walking on a dirt road the next day, until Naruto got a signal it was from Yujito. As she was in trouble, Hidan and Kakazu were after her. She managed to trap them in a mine, as she used a seal on the ring that Naruto gave her, as Kakazu fired off a combination attack but Naruto arrived just in nick of time and blocked it with a water attack. As Naruto decided to take on Kakazu while she take on Hidan. So yeah guys, that was basically last where we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself, so let's start this new episode. I see, Kakazu said as he turned towards Naruto. Your description match that of the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. Kakazu then pulled out a bingo book as he started to flip through it. You have a bounty of 500,000 yen on your head. Quite impressive for someone who only gained fame recently. After the Akatsuki extract your Biju, I'll be able to make a good bounty off your corpse. Naruto got into a fighting stance. You're more than welcome to try, but neither you or the Akatsuki will get anything from me. We will see, said Kakazu as all four masks emerged from his back. Two of them flew towards Naruto. Naruto leaped out of the way as one of them shot a blast of fire at him. When he jumped away, another shot a ball of wind into the flames, making it ferocious and coming towards Naruto. Naruto mode puffed up as he thought. Water release. Pressure cannon. A blast of water was sprayed from Naruto's mouth as it smashed into the combination jutsu, dousing it, as steam filled the entire area. As soon as he did that, he had to leap away from a destructive bolt of lightning that came from behind him. As Naruto flipped his blade and swinged it, a pressurized wind slice went towards the lightning mass. But the fire mass jumped in the way and released a massive dose of flames that combined with Naruto's wind, sending it back towards him. Naruto went through hand sign, water style, water dragon jutsu, he said. A giant water dragon emerged from the water below Naruto and smashed into the fire, dosing it. As Naruto spun around as a lightning mass shot a bolt of lightning towards him. Lightning release, pale white lightning, Naruto said as he clashed with his own lightning attack. As Naruto was forced to roll away, dodging and weaving through attacks from left and right, finding that he was not gaining any ground on his opponents. Whenever he got the upper hand on one of the masks, one of the other came to back it up. As another collaboration jutsu of flames and wind came towards him, Naruto decided to change the playing field. Water style, exploding water shockwave, he said. Water exploded out of the ground as it doused the combination jutsu and covered the entire area, as Kakazu had to jump on top of the water. As soon as he did that, Naruto appeared in front of him with a fist coming towards his face. He quickly hardened his body as he grabbed Naruto's hand, but Naruto twisted his body in mid-air as he brought down his light to stomp on Kakazu's forehead. But Naruto was only using that as a distraction, as he opened his palm as a blast of compressed air fired out right into Kakazu's chest. Even though his skin was hardened, the jutsu pushed him back a bit, as Naruto flipped and landed on his feet. Kakazu looked at Naruto as Naruto landed, as his skin returned back to normal, but that was the wrong thing to do, as a fist connected with Kakazu's jaw that sent him sailing away. As the real Naruto appeared, the other one poofed away in a smoke. Naruto did not have time to celebrate though, as lightning was sent towards him. Naruto started to spin as he called upon his elements. The wind and water twirled around him in a tornado fashion. When the lightning hit, it was just absorbed and combined with the two other elements. The swirling wind, water and lightning started to change into a black mass as thousands of small wind blades occasionally spin out of it, while water swirled around him in a whirlpool-like fashion and the lightning cackling around it, as the entire thing looked like a mini hurricane contained in a small part. As Naruto grit his teeth as he was spinning, combined all of his elements into one vortex. It took a long while to learn this. This was really hard to control, but the power behind it would be unimaginable. Suddenly, Naruto shot up into the air at the speed of the storm, then slow. It was like everything just froze in time, until it exploded outwards. Lightning rained down as water balls smashed all over the place, and sharp deadly winds tear everything to pieces. Two of Kakazu's masks were annihilated. The lightning and the fire mask, they were unable to get out of the way as they were shredded to nothingness. In the center of all of that was Naruto, as he was using his body to rage the storm around him. Meanwhile, that's some technique you got there, Nico-chan, said Hidan, looking at a large crater. Who knows, that could have actually hurt me. Yujito growled as another one of her attempts to kill the man failed, as she could not understand why she couldn't kill this man. Her thoughts were cut off as Hidan sailed his sight towards her, forcing her to dodge to the left. As she came up, she had to leap in the air as the sight came from behind her to slice her. Hidan grinned at her as he caught his sight as she was airborne. He thrust it towards her in mid-air. As Yujito's eyes widened, as the sight sliced into her, but she exploded into lightning. Hidan was forced to release his sight as the lightning channeled through it and shocked him. "Got you," a voice said, as Yujito's flame-covered hand tore right through Hidan's chest, right where the man's heart was supposed to be, sending flames and blood everywhere. "You bitch," Hidan said, as he turned his head to glare at her. "I'm going to sacrifice her ass at Jashin now, you bitch," he said. He spun himself around with so much force, she was picked off the ground and thrown as she flipped and landed on the wall. Looking up, she had to quickly jump away as Hidan's sight teared through the wall. She found herself on the defenses once more as she had to completely start to dodge and duck as he was swinging and acting like a madman. Reaching into her pocket as she was dodging, she pulled out an explosive note. As the sight passed her, as it sliced off some of her hair, she placed the explosive note right on it. She quickly jumped back, waving one hand sign. The sight exploded. "Nebe, I'm gonna need your help with this." "How are we gonna do this, kitten?" "I'm thinking full transformation." "Okay then, kick his ass, kitten." Meanwhile, Hidan picked himself up as he tried to find his staff that got thrown into the wall as he cursed. Meanwhile, Yujito went down on all fours as a dark chakra surrounded her once more, making her look like a human cat. As the chakra exploded outwards, as the two-tailed Nebe could be seen. As Hidan looked up with a smirk, "That's one big kitten," he said. As Yujito brought her paw up and smashed it down where he was. Hidan jumped back as he saw his sight in the wall. He ripped it out and thrust it towards the Nebe. Said cat opened its mouth and fired a large fireball that smacked into the sight, knocked into the side. Hidan used the wire and pulled his sight straight towards him, as he had to jump away as a large fireball nearly incinerated him once more, as he hid behind a large boulder. As he tried to find a way to fight this giant two-tailed cat, but he only came up with a blank. Kakazu was usually the strategist of the two. It was unfortunate he was fighting that blonde prick. Just as Hidan was about to run out, there was a huge blast, as lightning, wind blades, and water bullets could be seen destroying the area. As Hidan looked over to see the cat looking over towards the explosion, thinking that he might not get another chance, he jumped out as he thrust his sight. Yujito roared out as she felt a sharp pain in her leg. Looking down, she saw it was the sight, but it was already healing. She looked over, she saw Hidan going through his ritual. She rushed towards him to mess up his ritual, but it was too late. He already injected the blood. As he quickly changed into his ritual form, just as she was about to shove him out of the seal, he stabbed himself in the stomach. She roared out in pain and dropped to the ground. Yujito started to shift back to her original state as she curled up on the ground. Despite the Nebe trying to heal the wound, it was still bleeding. As she saw Hidan with a smirk on his face, as he stabbed himself once more, as she cried out in pain, as the blood loss was getting to her, as her eyes started to shutter a bit. Meanwhile, Naruto was breathing heavily as he landed on one knee. That technique took far more chakra than it should have, but it was the first time he was using it in battle, so it was to be expected. He would have to work on it when he got home. Getting up, he noticed Hidan pushing some debris off of himself. Naruto cursed as he hoped that technique would have taken out the man. As Naruto felt like his chakra was near and empty, that only left one option to do. Flashback. Naruto fought with 8 Tails as the man had his cloak on, the both of them, as Naruto was trying to keep up his cloak. As things were going well until B yelled out Lariat, as Naruto was smashed in the wall several feet away, as his form ran out of juice. Yujito came over to him and helped him sit up. As B walked over, "It looks like 4 Tails as far as you go. You're gonna have to work on that, yo," said B. "I understand," Naruto said. "So I guess I have to use this as a make it or break it jutsu then." "Still, you did pretty well," said Yujito. "It took me years to get up to 2 Tails with Nebe, and it just took you 6 months and you're already up to 4 Tails. You will get it sooner or later." "Thanks, Yuji-chan," Naruto said. End of the flashback. "Hey Kyuubi, I need some of your chakra to deal with these guys." I can see that, brat. As long as you don't make me look like a fool, I will give you my power. As Naruto felt the Kyuubi's chakra pouring through him, he then heard a voice. Oi Kakazu, I got that bitch that we're after. As Naruto looked over to see Hidan carrying the unconscious and bleeding Yujito over his shoulder, Naruto's eyes immediately turned red with the slits in it, as red chakra started to bubble up around his skin, bringing out more of the Kyuubi's chakra than he had intended, as it started to explode out of him in a violent way, as his nails turned into claws, as he turned to fangs, and his whiskers started to turn wild. As his eyes locked on Yujito, he could hear her pulse. As his chakra was channeling to his ear, she was not dead. He had to calm himself. He couldn't lose control because if he did, he would end up hurting her as well. As he tried to calm down, the vile chakra soon started to take the shape of a fox. 2 ears spread outwards, and 6 tails emerged behind him, swinging about. As a white exoskeleton came over him, as Naruto narrowed his eyes, he was still in control. He then blinked away. Hidan looked around in shock, but then a fist connected in his face as Naruto grabbed Yujito, as Hidan was sent sailing as he smashed in the wall. The red chakra subsided on Naruto's hand as Yujito was firmly held by him. He then vanished, bringing her to a distance away, creating a clone to watch over her as he vanished again. As Naruto then appeared in front of Hidan, Hidan's eyes went wide as the 6 tails jammed into his body as he cried out in pain. Naruto extended his claws and started to rip Hidan to pieces. The tails came out and started to shred him as the concentrated chakra of the Kyuubi was poisonous to human, and a lot of the concentrated force was melting Hidan's skin away. Hidan was crying out in pain, cursing at Naruto, until the only thing was left was a head and his skeleton could be shown as his skin was completely melted away. 2 tails came up and stabbed right through Hidan's eyes. He cried out in pain and agony until a tail shoved right through his mouth. It then expanded, ripping his face apart, making sure that he would never be able to reform again. Naruto then turned quickly and thrust his hand out, stopping a blast of water. As the water mass tried to flee, but the hand extended another hand and grabbed onto the water mass, ripping his face off as the thing faded away into the ground. As the 6 tails came up in front of Naruto and started to channel chakra, Kakazu didn't know what was going on, but he sent the final mass towards Naruto. But Naruto already built the ball and swallowed it. As soon as he did, his stomach got large as ground exploded underneath him. 6 tail, menacing ball, he said. The wind mass that Kakazu sent was utterly obliterated as pure destructive, catastrophic energy blasted from Naruto's mouth, as Kakazu barely managed to jump out of the way. The moment Kakazu was leaped up in the air, he felt something behind him by the wind pressure changing and that menacing growl. But it was too late as Naruto's 6 tails teared through his body. With a roar, Naruto ripped Kakazu to chunks, tossing a piece of his body in different directions. As Naruto collapsed on the ground, the chakra started to recede back into his body, as he was exhausted after using so much of the Kyuubi's chakra. Breathing heavily, he fell to one knee. He quickly looked over to see Yujito, as he stood up despite being completely exhausted. He made his way over towards her. Dropping down right beside her, he quickly pulled out a pouch with his medical supplies, as he pulled Yujito's body onto his lap. As Naruto used a little bit of wind chakra to cut her shirt, as he could see the wound, it was 3 holes, as he could see right through her. If she was not a Jinchuriki, no doubt she would have been dead. As he saw that Nibi was trying to heal the wound, but he feared that a giant cat won't be able to heal something like this before she died of blood loss. As Naruto added the disinfectant to bubble away anything poison or dirt. As he saw the wound start to heal faster, there were several forms of bacteria that Nibi had to spread her chakra out to heal. So now that all that is gone, Nibi could focus on the wound completely. As he grabbed the medical cream and bandages as he started to apply it to her. Since she was a Jinchuriki, he dumped a large bottle of his healing ointment on it instead of a small drop, as it would help the Nibi increase the speed of the healing. As he checked her pulse, it was low. "Come on, Yujito," he said. "You have to pull through this for me." As he started his work even faster. If she didn't make it through this, he would never forgive himself. Once, he got her all bandaged up. He grabbed some blood pills as he put it in his mouth and started to chew. As he didn't mind the vile taste as he went down. Put his lips on hers, he quickly started to pump the liquid in her mouth. He gently massaged her neck when she started to make gurgling noises as she swallowed the supplement. As he checked her pulse once more, he released a sigh of relief. Despite her injury, she seemed to be out of danger. As he then pulled himself and her towards the wall, leaning against it, he rested her gently on his lap. "You know, you worried me," he said, knowing that she couldn't hear him. Subconsciously, it looked like she already knew it was him, as she started to purr as he gently brushed back her hair. "Looks like I'll have to wait a couple of hours before getting us out of here," he said. After a good hour, Naruto picked himself up along with Yujito as he found an opening in the ceiling where one of the misfire jutsus had hit, as he channeled chakra to his legs and jumped straight out of it. When Naruto left, Zetsu emerged from the ground. "This is not good. Leader Sama will not be pleased when we inform him of another failure." Zetsu looked over at Kakazu's body as he went over to the hand and removed the finger off the corpse. Looking around, noticed there was nothing else. He left. Time skip. Naruto sat in a chair as Yujito was on the bed as he got to Kumo and informed the Raikage about what happened. It has been a day since that happened, and she has not awoken yet, a testament how badly she got hurt. As Naruto was still upset with himself, despite being strong and could take on S-rank criminal, if it wasn't for the Kyuubi's chakra, he wouldn't have won in the last. And Kakazu and Hidan were not on top of the food chain. There was still pain to think about. That just meant he needed more training. "Next time, I would never let one of my precious people get hurt," he said to himself, as he looked at Yujito's unconscious form. As Naruto heard the door open but he did not look behind him. "What do you have for me?" he asked. The person stood beside him. "Unfortunately, I don't have any useful information that who could have given out information about Yujito's mission." As Naruto frowned and closed his eyes as he thought, ever since Jiraiya gave Kumo information about the Akatsuki, the missions that Yujito and B would go on were kept secret from everyone except for high level of clearance. Very few people could have known that she was on a mission, and also where the mission took place. The only one that Naruto knew that had information about the mission was the Raikage and members of their council, the Shinobi Council that is. This meant there was a spy for the Akatsuki in the council, since the Raikage was extremely loyal to his Shinobi and would never sell one of them out, especially Yujito and his brother. As this treachery did not surprise Naruto, after all the Stan did have a spy, while in the use of a slave seal. It could be something like that, or one of the counselors could have been bribed. There was a number of possibilities. Why someone may be willing to sell out their Jinchuriki. "Would you mind if I look through the information you have found?" Naruto asked the person he was talking to. He looked uncomfortable to Naruto's request. Truth, the Raikage wouldn't mind if the blonde Shinobi looked through the reports that he has gotten. He both respected and trusted the young man, especially when it came to Yujito. However, handing out classified information to a Shinobi who belonged to a foreign village was extremely frowned upon. Not just because of the political fallout he could get, but because of the information, how it could be used against Kumo if it got out to another village. Naruto sensed a hesitation. "Look, we both know that you have a traitor in your council. The only other people know where Yujito had gone was you and B. You would never betray one of your ninja. And B is almost like a brother to Yujito, so that leaves only one option." "Yes, I do know that, but we both know it's not that simple," he said in a gruff voice. In the end, it come down to whether the political fallout and Yujito's safety. Which one was more important? But, well, there was no option. "Very well, I will give you the information you need," A said. As his Shinobi lives were more important than what some scheming politicians could do. "Thank you," Naruto said. A looked at him for a little while longer before leaving to go and get the files. Meanwhile, Jiraiya was currently in a bar. As he just ran out of sake, he was about to grab another bottle when a toad appeared beside him with a scroll on his head. As he took it, it was from Naruto. As the toad waited for the Sannin to read it, As Jiraiya read the contents, when he finished reading his scroll, he sighed. It seemed his apprentice always get into trouble, no matter where he went. As Jiraiya took out a blank scroll and started to write down a letter to Tsunade, it seems that they won't be going back today, because Naruto will be staying in Komo for a couple of days. Give this to Tsunade, he said, and let her know that Naruto and I will be a few days late. The toad nodded and poofed away in a poof of smoke. As Jiraiya got up, as he decided to find some pretty ladies to accompany him while he waited for a student. Pretty ladies, here I come, he said. Time skip. Yujito groaned as she slowly opened her eyes. She looked up to see the white ceiling. That was all she saw, wondering where she was and how did she got here. As she felt the slightly lumpy bed and smelled the disinfectant, she then heard a voice. I'm glad to see you're awake, kitten. Nibi, what happened? All that you remember is... Her eyes widened as she remembered what happened. She tried to sit up, but she fell back down as she felt a pain in her stomach. Easy, kitten, said Nibi. You took a pretty rough beating. Even I had a tough time healing you. What happened? Where are we? And where is Naruto? Asked Yujito in a worried voice. Your handsome mate is fine. You're lucky, kitten. It's because of him you're still alive, and why I'm still with you. We're currently in the hospital. I've been trying to heal you completely for 3 days now. We end up using a lot of my chakra in that battle, so it's been longer to heal you. That man of yours managed to carry you here after he defeated those 2 members. It was a lucky thing that he gave you that ring, so you can call him. I have to say I'm a bit jealous that you find such a devoted man. He hadn't even left your side since the both of you got here. What do you mean? Said Yujito. She then felt something holding on to her right hand. As she turned to see Naruto, as he was asleep, his head was resting on the bed. As a big smile came to her face as she looked at him. Lifting up her free hand, she ran it through his hair. He stirred a bit, but he didn't look like he was about to wake up. Feeling that she was still exhausted, she just cozied up a bit more to him. Even in his sleep, he was still holding on to her firmly, as she decided to fall back asleep as well. A few hours later, Yujito woke up again as she felt a lot better. As she stretched in a cat-like fashion. I'm glad to see you're awake, a voice said. She smiled as she turned her head. Naruto-kun, she said. As Naruto got up from his chair, as he went on the bed beside her, pulling her arm around her, pulling her close to him, as she leaned into him, as the both of them share a comfortable silence. One of his hands reached out and gripped hers, whilst let his fingers play with the ring that he got her. The bang itself was made of white gold. It was a very rare and valuable metal in the elemental nations. Along the band was Kurama and Nibi, several of them. The jewel in the middle was a shade of green that complemented their eyes and had a small Komo symbol on it. The jewels on each side were red rubies that were cut in the shape of tails, one side being 2 and the other being 9. As Yujito looked at the ring with a smile, remembering how he gave it to her outside of a small town when they were at a festival. How are you feeling? Naruto asked. I don't know, she said. I mean, I'm thankful I'm alive and I don't feel any pain anymore, but the fact that I got beaten in a one-on-one fight using Nibi chakra fully transformed, it's just frustrating, Naruto said. I can understand that. It's never fun having your weaknesses and faults shown, but that just means you know what you need to work on now. Still, at least 2 members of the Akatsuki are dead, which means we have 2 less people to worry about coming after us. I suppose that's something, Yujito said, had Naruto's cheerful attitude. On to more important things, Naruto said, as he handed a file to her that he was looking over. I was looking through some files on the members of Komo Council. He actually had several clones ready, but it amounted to the same thing. He had gone over every tidbit about the counselors, mainly the financial situation of the counselors, how much money their accounts have, how many they received in the last couple of years, as well as any trips one of the council members went on, including trips for both business and pleasure. Mostly, that led to a dead end. In Komo, people barely got out of this country. Well, except for the council member who was a part of the merchant business, but he went on so many trips, and Naruto was judging that it was because he worked with a lot of merchants, so they often leave the town. But none of his seals Naruto checked had picked up information about the Akatsuki here, so the spy had no other members that was working with him on the council because no talk about the Akatsuki was heard or Yujito around the council room. But he dived deeper as he went into personal details, everything. It was there he found a single lead. Kotake Mashima. He had been a member of the council for 16 years. At one point, he was an extremely loyal ninja. Before joining the council, he was a Jonin, a top one to be in fact, and a candidate to be the Raikage. However, A was chosen for the position because of his shown in the battlefield, where he had matched Minato Namikaze for a short time with his lightning armor, and also because his little brother B was chosen for this container of the 8 tails. After the third Raikage fallout, Kotake had become angry, as he was against the Raikage A for not going after the Byakugan, as A prevented any more of that after the Hyuga incident back then. It had become even worse for the man after B rise from hate to popularity, going from the Demon of Kumo to the Guardian of Kumo, as it was bestowed upon him from the people due to his constant desire to protect them. As time went by, the man's beliefs became so hard as people on the council started to ignore him when he was talking, and that irked him to no end. However, the most interesting piece of information Naruto found on Kotake was a file against him about rape a few years ago, but it was stopped before he could actually do anything. But that in itself wouldn't have got a lot of attention, seeing that rape was one of the most common crime amongst ninjas. What made this interesting was just who Kotake had tried to rape. As Naruto handed Yujito the file, Yuji-chan, I want you to flip to page 6 and tell me what you know about the man in there. She did as she was instructed, as she gasped when she landed, seeing the man's face. He had dark red hair, black skin and black eyes. This man, she said. She dropped the file and she closed her eyes. As she remembered, this man tried to rape her. He used some kind of seal to cut her off of Nibi's chakra. Before she had the chance to retaliate, because she would never think that that would happen, she was knocked out. Waking up, she was tied to a bed, as her clothes was off. The man told her she was to be honored, to be serving him, since that is all that demons are good for. While the Raikage Volt, that was almost at the Anvu, managed to rescue her, it still took years, worth of counseling session before she would let another man near her other than A and B. Because the third Raikage supporters are still on the council at that time, Kotake had many of them with him because he was an honorable man towards the third Raikage, so he just got a year in prison and a warning. Afterwards, he reclaimed his position on the council through some kind of loophole in Kumo's charter. She was snapped from her thoughts when she felt Naruto's arm tighten around her. As she saw the expression on his face, he was concerned. Are you alright? He asked. As he grabbed the folder and closed it, perhaps it wasn't a good idea to show her that. She bit her lower lip as she blinked back the few tears. Knowing that she needed to be comforted, Naruto pulled her close to him. I'm sorry, he said. I shouldn't have showed you that. It's okay, she said. It's just, I tried to fear at that time when he tried to rape you, Naruto finished for her. As she nodded. I was 13 when it happened, she said. As she took her head out of his shirt. I won't claim it that I had it as bad as any other Jinchuriki. While most people was already wary of me and kept their distance away from me, I was never outright hated by people. However, there were few people who completely despised me for what I hold. People like Kotake, Naruto said. Yes, she nodded. I was just promoted to Jonin that day, and I was still naive about the world. I was on my way home when he stopped me to congratulate me. He was a council member, so I trusted him. Before I knew what was happening, he slapped something on my forehead, and I felt Nibi chakra cutting off from me. The next thing I knew, I woke up on a bed, and I was tied down, as tears started to pool from her eyes as she was unable to finish the sentence. You don't have to say anymore, Naruto said, as he held her tight. And you don't have to worry. I doubt he will be living much longer anyway. What do you mean by that? She asked. I mean I was looking for any information to give me a lead upon who might slip the information to where your mission was being taken place. And I found a lot on Kotake, including his hatred of Jinchurikis and his attempt on rape on you. My guess is that Akatsuki somehow knew this and approached him a while ago. Anyway, I'm going to suggest A to have the man interrogated. If he is guilty, he's gonna have the death sentence. What if he's not? Questioned Yujito, worried that this may make him do something drastic to her in retaliation. Well, if he's not, then you will have to be worried, because when I'm done with him, even though Naruto didn't show it, hearing about that attempted rape on her when she was just 13, he was pissed. Don't do something that you would end up regretting, Naruto, she said. Even though she said that she was smiling to his protectiveness over her. No promises, Naruto said, as he just held her tight. Time skip. Pain listened to Zetsu report as he watched a battle with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and Kakuzu Hidan. While he knew the boy was going to be a problem, when he received that report on the time in Kiri, he did not know that the boy gained enough strength to defeat 2 members of the Akatsuki. To make things even worse, they were now down 2 more members, and they only had the Rokibai to show for it. Adding to the fact that the Kyuubi Jinchuriki could most likely even grow stronger. This news is troubling, the man said, as his Rinnegan eyes scanned the others in the room. Kisame smirked. The kid has gotten stronger from the twerp me and Itachi ran into 4 years ago. I look forward to the day though that me and Samehata can have a real fight with him. It will be interesting. Do you think we should go after him, Leader Sama? Zetsu asked. Pain stayed silent for a moment as he decided on a course of action. No. At the moment it will cause more trouble than what it's worth. The Nine-Tail must be sealed last, meaning that we have to keep him alive until we get the other Bijus. Pain looked around the others for a moment. We will continue gathering the other Jinchurikis, and for the moment leave the both Ichibai and Libby alone. They are not as important. Anyway, Itachi, Kisame. Kisame turned to look towards Pain, and Itachi opened his eyes. How far are you from your target? I think we're pretty close. Samehata is starting to get excited. I want you to capture the Gobi Jinchuriki as soon as possible. The rest of you should also get your Bijus as soon as possible. Don't worry, said Deidara. I'm almost here to standby. We will get that one soon. Yeah, Deidara standby's gonna lay out that thing, said Toby. Toby, haven't I told you to shut up? Said Deidara. Oh, sorry, senpai. Toby's gonna be a good boy, okay? Standing next to Pain, Konan looked over the others with her usual blank mask. However, she was thankful that Pain was not sending anyone after Naruto yet, as she was not looking forward to the time when he would be in danger. Even as strong as he was, she still feared for him. I hope all of this ends soon, she thought. Time skip. All of the members of Kumo Council were sitting around the large stone table, wondering why they were called so sudden and urgent. While this is not completely unheard of, the Raikage would not usually come to meeting. Well, unless it was important. Or his assistant would have to drag him here. It is well known as the man really dislikes council meeting and also paperwork. As the council door opened, 3 figures walked in. The first one is the Raikage. The second one was Yujito in her standard uniform. As they wondered what she was doing here, well, she's a shinobi of this village, so they shouldn't be worried about anything. However, the last figure got their attention. He was covered from head to toe in a black hood. The hood was covering the mad head in shadow, and he was wearing a black face mask. The only thing the group could see was a pair of piercing blue eyes. Many of them were imitated by the cloaked figure. But Kotake felt something from the man when the both of them locked eyes. It felt like pure hate and resentment was resonating off of the man towards him alone. The Raikage went over to his seat with Yujito and the unknown figure following him. Both of them stood behind him as he sat down. I would like to get back to work soon, so I'm not going to beat around the bush, the Raikage said. 4 days ago, one of our shinobi was attacked by a group known as the Akatsuki. There was a slight rumbling as the counselor started to talk, while glancing at Yujito. I am sure that all of you know that receiving the information about the Akatsuki from Jerry of the Sanin, we came to a decision that we'll be cautious when we send our 2 guardians of the village. As Einar decided Kotake, as the man seemed rather nervous. The Raikage could see sweat rolling down on the man's face as he was looking all around the room. It seems Naruto is right. He is a traitor. The Raikage spoke once more to be careful. We deem that only those with high clearance will be known when B and Yujito will be sent on missions. So imagine my surprise when an ally of ours came into Kumo 4 days ago with a bloody and beaten Yujito. At this, many of the council members look over to Naruto, knowing that he was the ally the Raikage was probably talking about. No, the reason I've called you all here is because someone betrayed this village, giving information on one of my most valuable ninjas to a group of S-rank criminals. A raised his hand. Several of the vault officers appear and surrounded Kotek. He quickly stood to his feet. Raikage-sama, what is the meaning of this? He asked. I thought it would be obvious, Kotek, A said in a dark tone as he glared at the man. You have been guilty of treason and you will be interrogated and tried. Volt, take him away and place him in one of the holding cells until he can be interrogated. The man started to struggle as the Volt officer started to pull him away until his eyes landed on Yujito. You bitch, he shouted. I should have killed you when I had the chance. You goddamn demon who... His voice quickly lost because they saw the hooded figure just appear in front of him. They looked over and saw there was only an after image. Several Senbon needles were in his throat. You're gonna have to take him to one of your best medical ninjas. I just destroyed his voice box. If you want a confession, you will need to fix it, Naruto said as he turned around, walking back to the Raikage. Did you really have to do that, Raikage asked. He insulted Yuji-chan. In my book, that is ground rule for death, Naruto said. So you're lucky he's still whole. The Raikage sighed, knowing that all the things he had seen Naruto do for Yujito, he should have known that Naruto would not put up with anyone insulting her. Well, that is all I wish to discuss with all of you. Tomorrow, we will hopefully have a confession from Kotek, and if he is guilty, he will be scheduled for execution. As the council filed out of the room, once they were gone, Naruto pulled down his cloak and his face mask as he was pulled into a hunger kiss by Yujito. Thank you, she said after breaking the kiss. As he smiled at her, you know there is no need to thank me. I did this because I wanted to, because I care for you and I love you. Moments later, as they were at the sushi bar, Amoy, Karu, and some were there as well. As Yujito didn't want to talk about the events that happened, so Naruto was the one who talked about it. Though he made sure to leave out a lot of the details because he did not know that A wanted them to know everything. As Naruto sensed movements coming towards his plate, he quickly grabbed the hand. No, Yuji-chan, it's not nice to steal my food, he said. When it comes to ramen, he was a monster at eating that, but when it comes to sushi, Yujito was worse than him, as she really enjoyed it so much. It was her favorite thing in the world. She flushed a bit of embarrassment of being caught. As she tried to pull away her hand, let go of my hand, she said. No, why would I do that? This is, let's say, the third time you're trying to steal my food again. Because you love me, she said, as she tried to appeal to him with a smile. He said, as he took her hand and started to kiss it. As he started to kiss it and brought her close to him. As she felt her body start to get hot. As he scooted over and the both of them were currently embracing each other. Before they could kiss, Naruto heard someone clear their throat. As he turned, not that I don't mind you guys doing that, said Karu, with a small blush in her face. It was the first time Naruto was hearing her talk without shouting. But if you're going to do that, I suggest you guys get a room. As Yujito blushed in embarrassment. As Naruto just smirked, you know, if you guys are uncomfortable, you can just leave. What? You know this is a public restaurant, right? You can't just go sucking face here, said Karu. Oh, I think you're just jealous. That Yujito got a totally awesome and sexy man like me, and you don't, Naruto said. That's it, Karu said as she lunged across the table, but she was grabbed by Amoy and Samui. You need to calm down, Karu. Be more like our large-breasted leader. But he was elbowed in the face. Shut up, I'm gonna kill him, Karu said. Yujito just smiled. At least nothing's ever boring, she thought. But guys, it'll be ending this episode right here. If you want the next part of this, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn the bell notifications to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, stay in tune for the rest of what is coming your way. And I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. But for now, I'm out. See you guys soon. Peace.